हाँ तो स्टूडेंट्स, now we will revise vector and scalars from resolution of vectors. Resolution of vectors. Resolution of vectors. Now it means vector and scalars. Dividing of vectors. What is resolution of vector? So when a vector is to be divided when a vector is to be divided into two or more than two parts. When a vector is to be divided into two or more than two parts, then this called resolution of vector. यानी आप किसी भी वेक्टर को टू और मोर देन टू पार्ट में डिवाइड करते हैं तो वो रिजोल्यूशन ऑफ वेक्टर है। और इसमें पहला हम लोग देखेंगे टू डायमेंशनल रिजोल्यूशन। रिजोल्यूशन ऑफ अ वेक्टर, यानी किसी भी वेक्टर का टू डायमेंशनल रिजोल्यूशन करना है तो व्हाट इज द टू डायमेंशनल रिजोल्यूशन ऑफ ए वेक्टर? देन when a vector is to be divided into two parts, called two dimensional resolution of the vector. So students, when a vector is to be divided into two parts, then this is called two dimensional resolution of vector. And why we are studying about the resolution of vector? Because its scope is very high and almost your total physics depends upon the activities of vector. I hope that you have read already. कहाँ तक दिख रहा है इनटू टू डायमेंशनल, फिर ये वेक्टर का यहाँ थोड़ा सा कटा है, यानी यहाँ तक आ सकता है। चलो we will study about two dimensional resolution of vector. Watching now, two dimensional resolution of a vector. Two-dimensional resolution of a vector. Let this is the vector R. This is the vector R, and we have to divide it into two parts. So we take two mutual perpendicular axes. Let x-axis and y-axis, and the unit vector along the direction of x-axis is to be I cap, and unit vector along the y-axis called j cap. Let O2R is vector R, and the vector R makes angle theta to the direction of x-axis. So we can write about the figure that let OR equal to R is a vector is a vector which has to divide into two parts, which has to divide into two parts. So let OR is equal to R is a vector and which has to divide into two parts. Then now we draw a normal Rn at the x-axis and a normal Rp at y-axis from the point R. Now drawn a normal Rn and Rp at x and y axes respectively from point R. So now we draw normal Rn and Rp at the x and y axes. And now from geometry of figure, in triangle ORN, in right angled triangle ORN. Already we know that the front side to the angle called perpendicular. Perpendicular is to be the front side to the angle, and the side front to the 90-degree called hypotenuse, and the rest side called base. So we can find the value of ON, the component of vector R along x-axis, and we can also find the value of OP, the component of vector R along the y-axis. So if we determine the value of ON, then it will be equal to PR, and if we evaluate the value of Rn, then it will be equal to PO. So now in the triangle, first of all, we want to the value of component of vector R along the x-axis. So if we determine the value of ON, then it will be equal to P. And first of all, we want to find the value of ON, this called Rx. That means x component of vector R. This is B, and we have the value of H. So we can make cos theta by the combination of B and H. So in the figure, cos theta is equal to B by H, and B is equal to ON, B is equal to ON, and H is equal to OR. Cos theta is equal to ON. And what is OR? OR is the length of arrow of vector R. OR is the length of vector R. So length of arrow of a vector provides its magnitude. So OR is equal to mod of R because it is the length of the arrow. And already we know that length of arrow shows the magnitude of a vector. So OR is equal to the magnitude of vector R. That means the mod of vector R means R. So the R cos theta is equal to ON. R cos theta is equal to ON, and ON is equal to PR. And this called x component of vector R. And we can write it by the Rx is equal to R. Clearly we can write that x component of vector R. X component of vector R means Rx. Magnitude of Rx is R cos theta. If we take a sign of arrow upon the vector Rx, then we should to represent the direction of the R cos theta, and ON, Rx is in the direction of x axis, so I can. Rx is equal to R cos theta I can. If we take a sign of arrow And again, we for determine the value of Rn, uh, uh, we can take the perpendicular and the hypotenuse. So in the sine theta will be equal to P by H and P will be equal to Rn. P will OR. OR is the magnitude of vector R. That means sine theta is equal to Rn by R. OR is the length of arrow of vector R and it provides its magnitude. So we can take here that R sine theta is equal to Rn. Rn is equal to R sine theta is equal to OP. So we can lastly we write that the y component of vector R, this called Ry and equal to R sine theta j cap. So the x component of vector R is equal to Rx is equal to R cos theta, and y component of vector R is Ry is equal to R sine theta. So the students, the vector R may be divided into two parts, R cos theta and R sin theta along x and y axes respectively. Now we will understand to the use of the resolution of the vectors. So you can take the screenshot of the board. मिटा दिया जाए क्या? अवश्य मिटा दिया जाए. Because my students are very fast writers. काफी फास्ट गति से लिखते हैं आप, ये पता है हमको. 4-4 बार जो लिखे हुए हैं. देखो यहाँ पे पंपी सीट वाला मोटर बिगड़ गया है, उसका वो वायरिंग हो रहा है, और इधर हनुमान आराधना भक्तगण और अष्टयाम के लिए छाण जुटे हुए हैं भक्ति के लिए. तो जल्दी जल्दी हम लोग अपना समय निकाल कर इसको पूरा कर लें और फिर प्रभु के राम धुन में लग जाएं. तो इस तरह से आप जो है ये इसको सकते हैं. So the Rx, what is Rx? It is directed along the x-axis, and Ry, it is directed along the axis. This called Rx and this called Ry. Now again in the triangle ORN. Again in triangle ORN. क्या देख सकते हैं कि ON प्लस NR is equal to OR. ON plus NR is equal to OR. What is ON? ON is equal to Rx and NR is equal to Ry is equal to vector. What is the value of Rx? The value of Rx is R cos theta I cap, and value of Ry is R sin theta j cap is equal to vector R. So the vector R is divided into two parts, R cos theta I cap and R sin theta j cap. Now how can we use the resolution of vector? So take an example. Let a force of 20 Newton is acting at an angle 60 degree or 30 degree from x-axis. Then what will be its components? Already we know that this will be f cos theta. That means 20 cos 30 That means 20 root 3 by 2 is equal to 10 root 3 is equal to 10 into 1.7 मान सकते हैं। तो इसको आप मान सकते हैं 1 पॉइंट इधर जाएगा लगभग 17 न्यूटन। और ये वाला जो कंपोनेंट होगा the component will be sin theta and will be equal to 20 sin 30 is equal to 20 into 1 by 2 is equal to 10 newton. It means if we have to apply a force of magnitude 20 newton at the object, that the object should move at 30 degree from the x-axis, then a force of magnitude 17 newton will be applied in the direction of x-axis and the force of magnitude 10 newton will be applied in the y-axis. Then the resultant will be 20 newton and the object will move at 30 degree from the x-axis. It means if we apply a force of 17 newton along the x-axis and force of magnitude 10 newton along the y-axis simultaneously at an object, then the object will move by the force of 20 newton at an angle of 30 degree. So there are a lot of uses and we will understand various resolution of two dimensions. Force of magnitude 10 newton along the y-axis simultaneously at an object, then the object will move by the force of 20 newton at an angle of 30 degree. So there are a lot. Now we will learn that how can we divide a vector into two parts when given at different angles and different directions. Let a vector R is to be divided into two parts. Then first of all we should do x and y axis, that means two perpendicular axes, x and y. If the theta is given here, then we will draw a perpendicular in front of theta. Always we will draw a perpendicular in front of theta and it will be P. So it will be P, then the parallel side of the P is also will be P, and P is to be in sin theta. P by h is equal to sin theta. If P means sin theta, it means the component will be R sin theta. From side to the angle of 90 degree will be h and it will be B. So it will be R cos theta. R cos theta. So we can write the resolved vector in the form of vector R is equal to R cos theta and I axis, which is the unit vector along the direction of x axis, I cap plus Rx, that means R sin theta j cap. तो ये Rx ये R, तो ये ऐसे डिवाइड किया. Now if you have given the vector R and we have to resolve into two parts and the theta is given here, then we will draw perpendicular in front of theta, we'll call P, and the front side of the also call P. P will be in sin and it will be R sin theta and it will be the R cos theta, and the vector R is resolved into two parts, R sin theta I cap and R cos theta j cap. Have then you should to take two normal axes. If theta is given here, theta may be anywhere, you have to draw normal always in front of angle, always in front of angle, and the front side of angle will be perpendicular and this will be also perpendicular, so it will be f sin theta and this will be f cos theta. This is the x-axis positive direction and this is the y-axis negative direction. So the resolution of vector f may be written as f is equal to f sin theta I cap, f sin theta I cap plus f cos theta minus j cap. So the vector f may be written as f sin theta I cap minus f cos theta j cap. So you can resolve the vector by the way. If we have the velocity vector which has to resolve, then first of all you should to take two normal axes. Then you should to draw normal in front of angle, this will be P, and the parallel side of the P will be also P, and P means this will be sin theta, V sin theta and V cos theta. The x-axis is y negative and the x-axis is minus I negative. So the resolution of the vector V may be written as the vector V is equal to V cos theta minus I cap plus V sin theta minus j cap, and the equation will be minus V cos theta I cap minus V sin theta j cap, and when the V will be minus V will be common, then it will be cos theta I cap plus sin theta j. So we can resolve a vector by the way. If we have given the weight force mg normally downward, then we can resolve the vector by the way. This may be x-axis and this may be y-axis and this may be z-axis. Now we are resolving only two dimensional. If the theta is given here, then we should to draw normal in front of theta, it will be P, and the front side of P will be also P, and it will be equal to mg sin theta, mg sin theta, and this will be mg cos theta. So we can resolve the vector mg is equal to mg cos theta I cap plus mg sin theta j cap. And for the motion at inclined plane, we can use to the resolution. If a body of mass m is situated at inclined plane AB, situated at angle theta to the horizontal direction, कैमरा तो बोल दिया, and for the motion at inclined plane, if an object of mass m is situated at an inclined plane AB, inclined at an angle theta to the horizontal direction, then its weight force mg will be act normally downward, and the mg may be divided as in two parts. This called mg sin theta and mg cos theta. Since the force mg sin theta try to move the object downward, so a force of friction is to be created in the opposite direction, because force of friction is the force of reaction. So the theta and the theta will be here, and when the object will put the object by mg cos theta, then and the opposite direction of the mg cos theta, and it will be equal to the r. So we can use the resolution of vector at inclined plane and by other way. This is the very important topic. Now we will learn about two-dimensional resolution by second method. क्या लिख चुके हैं क्या? To watching now, started streaming 25 minutes ago. मैसेज करते रहिए, हेलो हाय लिखते रहिए, और साउंड वीडियो में कोई प्रॉब्लम हो तो उससे अवगत कराते रहिए। अब बच्चों हम लोग देखते हैं एक दूसरा मेथड जो 3 डायमेंशनल रिजोल्यूशन के काम आएगा। अगर ये वेक्टर आर है, थोड़ा सा इसका ईंधन लोड कर लें। टू वाचिंग ओनली 2 बॉडीज, कोई बात नहीं, एक भी वॉच नहीं करता तो टाइम पे अपना चलेगा। जब आपको टाइम मिलता तो आप देखते हैं। Now we have to resolve the vector r, so we have to axes. Let x axis I cap and y axis j cap. Let OR is equal to r. इसके बारे में आप लैंग्वेज लिख सकते हैं। Let OR is equal to vector r is a vector which has to divide into 2 parts, and the vector is making angle theta 1 to the direction of x axis and making angle theta to the direction of y axis. So we can write this, let vector r makes angles theta 1 and theta 2 to the directions of x and y axes. Now what to do? So we have to draw a normal RP and a normal RQ. So we can write, now drawn a normal RP and RQ at x and y axes respectively. Now drawn a normal from RP and RQ at x and y axes respectively. Before इसके पहले वाला जो लैंग्वेज था, geometry of figure, you can write that from geometry of figure. From geometry of figure in right angled triangle. In right angled triangle ORP. Already we know that the front side of angle will be perpendicular P and the front side of 90 degree will be hypotenuse and rest will be base, and we have to find the x component of the vector along the x axis called Rx. So Rx is the B, and already we value of r, so we can make the b by h is equal to cos theta by the combination of b and h. So in the figure, cos theta 1 will be b by h and it will be equal to the OP by OR. OP by OR. Already you know that OR is the length of arrow of vector r. It means OR is the magnitude of vector r means r. That means cos theta 1 is equal to OP is equal to R. OP OR is equal to R. So ये इधर चला आएगा R cos theta 1 is equal to OP या QR. OP या QR. X component of vector R is equal to Rx. X component of vector r is equal to Rx is r cos theta I cap along the x axis. And again in triangle OQR. Now we take the triangle OQR and the front side of angle theta 2 we call P, and the front side to the right angle we call H, and the rest angle will be B. Since we have to determine the value of OQ which is B, so we can combine B to H for formation of cos theta and take cos theta 2 is equal to B by H. It means OQ by OR. B by H, OQ by OR. cos theta 2 OQ and OR is R. So this is R cos theta 2 is equal to OQ and OQ is equal to PR. Y component of vector R is Ry is equal to R cos theta 2 j cap. This is the second component of the vector R. चलो मिटाते हैं मिटा दिया जाए जाए क्या So here we are looking that Rx is R cos theta 1 and Ry is theta 2. So the vector R may be divided as Rx and Ry. इसको Rx और इसको Ry. तो वेक्टर R इज इक्वल टू R cos थीटा 1 I कैप प्लस R cos थीटा 2 J कैप. So the vector is divided into two parts and you can resolve a vector by any way, by the first method or second method. अब आप सोच रहे होंगे कि ये सेकंड मेथड, व्हाई द सेकंड मेथड इज रिक्वायर्ड? बिकॉज इन द थ्री डायमेंशनल रिजोल्यूशन we will resolve the vector in three dimension by the help of the two dimensional resolution, by the way. So and you have to determine a force F of 20 Newton as 30 degrees. This called theta, and the theta 2 will be 90 minus 30 is equal to 60 degree. So this is R cos theta 1 and this is R cos theta 2. R means 20 cos theta 1 यानी 30, 20 into root 3 by 2, 10 root 3 Newton. And R 20 cos 60 is equal to 20 into 1 by 2 is equal to 10 Newton. And if we resolve the same force, magnitude 20 Newton inclined at an angle 30 degree to the direction of x-axis, and if we resolve it by the way R cos theta and R sin theta, then the same result will be, same. So we can resolve a vector by any way, cos or sin cos. Now we will learn about the resolution of three-dimensional resolution of three-dimensional resolution of vector. First of all, we make a square or rectangular, and also from a middle side and left, or a square. To its corners. Corners हाँ called x axis 20 मिनट के बाद y axis and also this called z axis. I cap, j cap and k cap. So now we can show the thrice axes in the figure. And now we also make a figure as the figure to understand the components of vector r along the x, y and z components. Along the x, y and z components. So now we can show the thrice axis. This is x axis. And now we also make a this is y axis and this is z axis. If the vector is r, if the vector is r, then its x component will be rx. And in the same direction the component will be rx. Again the same component will be equal to rx. Again the same component will be equal to rx. And the component is this called ry from O, and this also called ry. If we take the opposite direction, then it will be minus ry. This will be ry along the direction, and in the direction it will be negative. This is also ry, and this component called rz. So this component also called rz. This component also called rz, and this component also called rz. So first of all, we should to understand that rx, rx, rx and rx, ry, 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 फिर rz, rz, rz और rz. इसका x एक्सिस तो थोड़ा सा भाग गया है इधर. अब ये हुआ x एक्सिस, और ये जो है दिस इज वेक्टर r which has to resolve into two parts called vector r, which has to resolve into two parts. ये हुआ x एक्सिस, और ये जो है दिस इज वेक्टर r. Let the vector OR is vector R, OR is vector R, and making angles alpha, beta and gamma to the x, y and z axes respectively. Now we have to resolve the vector R into two parts. So we see that the vector is Rx, and the vector along this direction is rz. And the straight line joining is resultant. So this called O A B. So we can write in triangle. Now in triangle OAB, OA plus AB is equal to OB. OA plus AB, OA plus AB is equal to OB. What is OA? OA is vector Rx and AB is vector RZ. RZ is equal to OB. Let the equation is first. What is our target? Our target is to find the resultant vector OR is equal to R. Then again in triangle OBR, because OB plus BR is equal to OR. OB plus BR is equal to OR, OB plus BR is equal to OR. What is OB? OB is Rx, vector Rx plus vector Rz, and the BR is vector Ry, vector Ry. R is R, so we can write the equation as vector R is equal to Rx plus Ry plus Rz. It is seen that here is the theta 1, here is the theta 2. The x component will be cos theta 1, cos theta 2. So here alpha and beta. So the vector R will be equal to R cos alpha, and the direction is along the x-axis. Again R cos beta j and R cos gamma k. So we can resolve the vector into three parts. एक मिनट में हम आ गए, कोई मेरा इंतजार कर रहा है. And the direction is along the x-axis. Again R cos beta j and R cos. कोई बात नहीं, मतलब क्या है? हो गया तो ऊपर क्या कहाँ है? So we can resolve the vector into. अभी नाम बोले. एक मिनट में हम आ गए, कोई मेरा इंतजार कर रहा है. गारंटी बा. कोई बात नहीं. 38 परत के उम्र बा मास्टर के आलो 3 महीना के अंदर. बात ये लड़का का होइए जाई. पैसा लगौले बानी, बीएड करौले बानी, कितना कभी ना जाए, याद रखना. अरे महाराज हमने भी अपना हमने तो मुझे आई हम जानत रही दे आई मैं कितना दर्शन पढ़ाई. वही मास्टर नहीं वही लेक्चर तो पता नहीं तो लेक्चर के गारंटेड बात ही नहीं. लेक्चर जो है तो मत आ I have worked in this and it's a illegal. अच्छा हमारे महान आता हूँ तुम्हें यहाँ आए मैं दिल्ली में महान आई मैं तो यहाँ से समझ लेकर स्कूल बात चलो बता बोनस का करूँगा चिंता मत करिए तो बंदे दिवस से कोई बन जाए अगर मुझे ले लेकर के साइंस में बात की कोई बात क्या बारी करा दिए साका ओकरा के छोड़ दिए तो कहां से लिए ये मास्टर कहना के भाई सारा शिक्षा ली बात कोई टेंशन की जरूरत नहीं है यार और बाप हमको और एक मिनट चल जाइए साल भर के अंदर सारा बोले बानी जीएस बोले बानी बोले कहे रुपए का नाम को आ जाए यही चले क्या का नाम लिखवाएं ये बिखा चल जाए कभी बिखा ना जाए. तो स्टूडेंट्स हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे थे कि 3-dimensional resolution of vectors. क्या करें, कितना टाइम हो गया आपका? 46 मिनट। चलो चला देते हैं बच्चों, चला ही देते हैं आपका। तो स्टूडेंट्स, हम लोग चर्चा कर रहे थे कि 3-dimensional resolution of vectors। क्या करें, कितना टाइम हो गया आपका? 46 मिनट। चलो चला देते हैं। अब देखते हैं रिजल्टेंट के लिए आपका कि magnitude of resultant vector of two vectors may be determined by the two methods: triangle law of addition of vectors and parallelogram law of addition of vectors. Now we will study about how can we find the magnitude and direction of resultant vector of two vectors. So the heading will be to determine magnitude of resultant vector of two vectors. To determine magnitude and direction of a resultant vector of two vectors. We have two vectors and we have to determine resultant of the vectors and direction of the resultant. So let it is given that this is vector A and this is vector B. This is vector B. By triangle of addition हम लोग देखते हैं triangle से. Already we know that how can we add the triangle of addition of vector. First of all, we take the vector A in the same length and in the same direction, and again shifted the tail of vector B at the head of vector A. This is called vector A and this is called vector B. Straight line joining tail of vector A to head of vector B provide the resultant of vector A and B. Let OA is equal to vector A and AB is equal to vector B. So we can write the language that let OA is equal to vector A, AB is equal to vector B, and resultant is OB is equal to vector R. OB is equal to vector R. Let OA is equal to vector A, AB is equal to vector B, and OB is equal to vector R. If we have to determine the value R, then we cannot get the value of R by the triangle. So to determine the value of vector R, we increase the vector A and draw a normal BP at the increased part of vector A. Now the triangle OBP is a right angle triangle and we can use the Pythagoras theorem. H square is equal to P square plus B square and may determine the value of R. So now drawn a normal BP. Now drawn a normal BP. At extended, increased part of vector A and made a right angle triangle. And made a right angled triangle. And let the angle between direction of vector A and direction of vector B is theta. So we can write also vector A and vector B makes angle theta 2 each other. तो ये लैंग्वेज हुआ और यहां से फ्रॉम ज्योमेट्री ऑफ फिगर, फ्रॉम of figure in right angle triangle OBP, in right angle triangle, in right angle triangle OBP, OB square is equal to BP square or OP square. And according to the geometry, OB square is equal to BP square plus OP square. And what is OB? OB is the length of arrow of vector R, and length of a vector gives the magnitude of the vector, means R. This called R square is equal to BP square plus OP is equal to OA plus AP. plus AP का whole square. स्क्वायर इक्वल टू बीपी का होल स्क्वायर प्लस ओ ए वेक्टर ए का मैग्नीट्यूड है यानी ए प्लस एपी का होल स्क्वायर. Now let the equation is first and we have to do process to find the value of BP and AP. First of all, we want that what is the position of BP and AP. BP and AP. And this is theta. The front side to the theta is perpendicular and the front side to the right angle is H and the rest is B. So, in triangle ABP, you can write that the right angle triangle ABP, we have to find the value of AP and BP. H is already known, so we can make the cos theta by BH and sin theta by PH. So now we take cos theta. Cos theta is equal to B by H. B is equal to AP. And H is equal to AB. AB is the length of arrow of vector B. That means magnitude of vector B. This called B. AP is by AB. Yani AB is equal to AP by AB. AB and AP is B. B. Since B cos theta is equal to AP and sin theta is equal to P by H. P is BP AB. BP by AB. BP is equal to BP. AB is equal to R. And this will be R sin theta is equal to BP. Theta is equal to BP. Then now we will put the value of BP and AP in the equation first. तो इक्वेशन फर्स्ट हम लोगों को मिला था आर स्क्वायर इक्वल टू बीपी का होल स्क्वायर प्लस ए प्लस होल स्क्वायर ऑफ एपी. दिस इज द फर्स्ट. एंड ऑल्सो we have BP is equal to, where is BP? BP is equal to R sin theta and AP is equal to R cos theta. Here we can write that now putting the value of BP and AP in first. Here is the equation first. R square is equal to BP. BP square means whole square of R sin theta plus A plus AP. A plus and AP is equal to r cos theta, whole square of r cos theta. It means r square is equal to r square sin square theta plus a square plus r square cos square theta. ये यहाँ b sin थीटा और यहाँ b cos थीटा हमने गलती से लिख दिया। तो b sin थीटा स्क्वायर sin स्क्वायर थीटा प्लस a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर cos स्क्वायर थीटा प्लस 2ab cos थीटा। And now r square is equal to a square plus b square will be common and sin square theta plus cos square theta plus 2ab cos theta. And this is a square plus b square. Already you know that sin square theta plus cos square theta is 1 and 2ab cos theta. The r will be equal to under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Then what is its use? If two forces of magnitude 6 Newton and 8 Newton are acting simultaneously at an object at right angles, then what will be its magnitude? Then it means under root 6 square plus 8 square plus 2 6 8, and the angle between both forces is 90 degrees, so the term will be 0 and this will be 110 Newton. So it means if two forces of magnitude 6 Newton and 8 Newton are acting simultaneously at an object, then the object will experience a force of magnitude 10 Newton. And what will be the direction of the force? So it makes something angle to the direction of x-axis or something angle to the direction of y-axis. So now we can determine the value of direction of the resultant vector. And what will be the direction of the force? So it makes something angle to the direction of x-axis or something angle. The resultant vector r makes an angle alpha to the direction of vector a. Then we can determine its direction by the tan alpha. And tan alpha is equal to the here the alpha is acting as the angle and the front side of angle is p, and that is tan alpha is equal to p by b, that means bp, p is bp, and the front side 90 degree is h and the since is b, so op is equal to b, op is equal to b and the tan alpha is equal to bp, bp is equal to b sin theta and op is equal to oa plus ap, OA plus AP, and already we know that tan alpha is equal to B sin theta by OA is equal to A or AP is equal to B cos theta, and when you stop the alpha here then it will be tan inverse B sin theta by A plus B cos theta. This is the direction of the resultant vector tan inverse B sin theta by A plus B cos theta. So students, we can prove the theory by the other way also. राहुल यादव, रामजी यादव, हेलो। चलिए, आपका इंग्लिश मीडियम नहीं है और इंग्लिश मीडियम वालों के लिए ये चल रहा है। Also, Rahul Yadav, Ramji Yadav, hello. What is the position of the battery of camera? Is working better now, so we can deal the next expression also. अब थोड़ा मोबाइल में मैसेज देख लेते सेकेंड ईयर वालों के लिए। चलो, नेट इज वर्किंग वेरी स्लो एंड वी कैन स्टॉप दी क्लास नाउ बिकॉज 10 बजे से बोले हैं। अच्छा, सेकेंड ईयर वालों के लिए 10 बजे से मैसेज गया है, कोई बात नहीं। नेट थोड़ा रुका हुआ है, अब एक और गलती हुई है, कंप्यूटर में बैटरी नहीं जोड़ा गया है। तो पैरेललोग्राम ऑफ लॉ ऑफ एडिशन ऑफ वेक्टर्स, पैरेललोग्राम लॉ ऑफ एडिशन ऑफ parallelogram law of addition of vectors. Same, we have to given two vectors A and B. Then to determine the magnitude of the vectors, we use the parallelogram law of addition of vectors. In the addition, the starting point of the both vectors will be same. The starting point of the both vectors will be same. Let this is OA is vector A and OB is vector B. Angle between them is theta. And the resultant is the resultant. You can draw the lines. Now this called also OR is equal to vector R. So OA is equal to A, OB is equal to vector B. Then the vector will be also vector B, and then the vector will be also vector A, due to be equal vectors, because their magnitudes and direction are equal to each other. So we are not able to determine the value of R by the triangle or the triangle. So we should do some construction, and now we increase the part of vector A and draw normal RP from R. To theta, because this is the direction of vector A and this is the direction of vector A, and the angle between them is theta. So we can write the language of the equation that let OA is equal to A, OA is equal to A, OB is equal to vector B, and the resultant is vector OR is equal to R. Let the angle between vector A and vector B is theta. और आपने किया क्या? तो now drawn a normal RL at extended part of vector A. Now from geometry of figure, in right angle triangle ORP, in the triangle OR का square will be equal to sum of RP square plus OP square. That means OR square is equal to RP square plus OP square. OP square. What is R? R is R square and RP square plus OP. OP is equal to OA plus AP, यानी A plus AP. A plus AP का whole square. This is the equation first. And in triangle ARP, the front side to the theta is P and the front side to the right angle is S and the rest side is P. We have to determine the value of RP and AP, and both are lying in the triangle. So one is B and one is P, and already we have the value of H. So we can make sin theta or cos theta by the triangle. So in this figure, sin theta is equal to P by H. P by H, P मतलब RP और H मतलब AR. RP by AR. RP by AR. sin theta. AR क्या हो गया? A से R तक वेक्टर B का मैग्नीट्यूड हो गया. दिस इज B sin theta is equal to RP and cos theta is equal to B by H. B means AP by AR. AP by AR or AP by AR means B. That means B cos theta is equal to AP. And we can put the value of RP, B sin theta and AP, B cos theta, and you can get the result according to the former operation. इसके पहले जैसे हम लोग प्राप्त किए हैं वैसे आप प्राप्त कर सकते हैं आगे की कहानी. यहाँ पे इसको रुकते हैं बच्चों, और एक क्लास और देंगे आपका इंग्लिश मीडियम वालों के लिए, जिसमें होगा क्या, तो जिसमें होगा स्केलर प्रोडक्ट